Well, the first thing we need to do, John, is to make absolutely sure there's harmonization across the world in the testing, tracing, quarantine, and mitigation methods that are being used. At the moment, all those discrete components that are absolutely necessary to get the world back up on its feet are looked at differently across the world. And until that harmonization happens, we're not going to make the progress we need to make to get the world moving again.
Does that take 4 to 6 months, like early 2021, to get that in place?
Not at all. I believe that we're actually in a position now where we could adopt some of these methods. There are various different types of scalable, affordable, quick, and accurate methodologies for testing now that are in the final stages of development. And I think a lot of countries are trialing those now. If we could adopt one which could give you a positive or negative result to a COVID test in literally a few minutes, that would transform the whole thing. But that's not just the entire picture, because the other problem, of course, is the extended quarantine periods that are being applied at the moment. In my view, they are actually doing us more damage than any of the other single measures, because people don't have the time to be able to spend up to 14 days in quarantine on reaching their destination.
I'm wondering if you can get an early win with an air corridor between Dubai and London, for example. There's discussion of London to New York and adding Beijing or Shanghai. When could we see an established air corridor to serve as a case study?
Well, we believe we have all the steps in place, both here and in London, to make that happen. But the thing is, of course, before we can get any agreements signed, we have to get the governments on board. If we could get a travel corridor established between here and London, then we could very, very quickly see a massive surge in traveller confidence and the numbers starting to come back, which would be good for the economy, be good socially, and will be a good message to other cities around the world to follow suit. So we're really, really keen to be an early adopter of this.
Everybody's focused domestically right now on domestic priorities and keeping their populations safe, and they're not thinking about the GDP impact of the travel and tourism industry. 1 in 10 jobs internationally, 1 in 4 new jobs created prior to the pandemic. Is that a mistake on the part of governments?
I think it is a mistake, because effectively you're just putting another sticking plaster. You're not actually dealing with the problem. What governments need to get their heads around is the fact we're not just dealing with a medical emergency here, we're also dealing with an economic and social emergency. And travel and tourism is one of the keys of getting that back.